Um, I have been definitely a voice that's against the passport bros
Okay.
For several reasons. There's a lot of propaganda that is being spewed. And I know you did a video the other day and you were saying something to the effect of why do people keep talking about the passport bros? Well, the reason why they're controversial is because, see, when you're happy and everything is good, you just move on and do your thing. You don't keep talking about all the stuff you don't like because it has nothing to do with your current state. Just move on. And so that all badgering black women, it doesn't make sense. So that's one of the reasons why it keeps being brought up. If they keep black women's names out their mouth and just move on with their life,
They get paid to do that.
Let me finish, brother. To white, Asian, or whatever else they want, and just move on and be happy. That would be a very easy thing. So if they just stop doing that, it would be fine. Nobody's against black men going abroad. They really aren't.
Yes,
The
they are.
second thing is this.
Can I respond to that?
Can I finish, please? I just want to finish.
Just let the sister
Damn, you
finish.
sounded combative.
Please.
No, let her finish.
Let her finish. Let her finish, man. Let her finish.
Yeah, let her finish. You can weigh in.
The second point I wanted to make is there's this brother named Andre and Andrea, love crossing borders. He would have been the perfect candidate for the passport bros. And let me tell you why. Because this is a real brother who knows how to build, who has money and assets. He has taken the time and energy and invested in himself, a relationship, and a family. This is who they should have put up instead of a 23-year-old boy who does not know how to travel, has no assets, and he's just jumping on a whim, chasing women to the point where the women put him out of a country, and then now he's in another country insulting that country. He's probably going to get put out of that one. They picked a bad representative. And also the thing is that it's a lot of sex tourism. That's what the passport bros is based on. I had a 2-hour-long debate with Chantel Simone telling her all these points, and nobody believed me. But I have property in the Dominican Republic, so I know very well who these guys are. I want to say this clearly. Black men, we do not own you. You can go and marry anybody you want to. You don't need our permission. You are free. The best thing to do is not to talk how bad black women are. It didn't work for Austen, and it's not going to work for anybody else. If you're happy, just like Brother Andre, move on. Enjoy your life. But you don't have to bash black women in the process. Because the final point I want to make is that the truth is that about 70% of black women do not want to be married. Look at what people do, not what they say. And if you understand that 70% of black women are bypassing marriage, more black men seem to want to be married than black women. This is why black women play games. This is why black women don't treat black men well. They treat them as they're temporary because they do not desire husbands. That's my opinion.
So
And
why do they
lastly-
talk trash about us?
And lastly, my very last point, and I'm done.
You got 10 points.
Let her finish. Let her finish, man.
Then I have nothing else to say. My very last point. The passport bros can go. And let me tell you why. They are not the desirable men. I have seen them walking up and down the street in Dominican Republic, and I'm sure others have seen them. They are fat. They are ugly. They're funny looking. They're socially awkward. They're broke. They're hungry. They're thirsty. They're sexual perverts. They do not mean women any harm. They're not looking for wives. They can absolutely leave because they're leftovers, as Kevin Samuels would say. And that's my final thought.
Can I ask her a quick question real quick?
Brandon, you can go in. You can lean in.
She literally said, if you're happy, you don't worry about other people and what they're doing. That was her first statement. This is what I don't understand. Why is a married woman who's been married just as long as me worried about what a bunch of single 23-year-old men are doing on the internet? If that's the case, if you're happy and you're not supposed to worry about anything else, if you're happy, that was your statement, right? Then you are a hypocrite. You literally are worried. A married woman, your husband is somewhere doing what he's doing, but you're focused on 23-year-old young boys and what they're doing on the internet in another part of the country. That is the first thing I caught about what you said, May. And guess what? That means you're a hypocrite. And clearly you are pressed by these young men. And that makes me question, are you going to the Dominican Republic to pursue young men for, not so on the up and up
Do
activities.
you want my
Because
response?
why are you? If you're not, why are you worried about it?
Do you want
It's
my
out of your.
response?
It's beyond your scope. Like you are married.
Do you
You
want
should
my
be
response?
coaching women on how to be good wives.
Do you want my response? Hello?
Yeah, go ahead and respond. Go ahead and respond.
Do you want my response? I
Go ahead
said
and
at the
respond,
very
yes.
beginning, keeping passport bros keeping black women's name out of their mouth as the excuse as to why they have to go. That's the problem. I happen to be a black woman who is married, but I'm a black woman, and I don't appreciate the bashing. I don't like the bashing. That's why I speak up. Secondly, being married does not mean anything. Half of these people on YouTube who have channels are also married. Kosher Commission, I believe, is married. It's a lot of people married. Chez Chardé is married. Is she wrong to care about the topic and to have it? Married does not exclude you from society, sir.
Can I
ask you a question?
Chardé is being objective. You're pressed.
I want to ask a question. Can I ask a question?
Wait, can I? Because
Yeah, we'll just go around the horn just want to ask her one question one at a time. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So my thing is, you just said right that like black men, they want to travel. They're allowed to travel. Keep black women's name out their mouths. Black women do the same thing all the time. They say, "Oh, get you a white king, black men ain't shit. Get you an Asian man, black men ain't shit." Or do this, that, and the other thing because black men don't have money. Black men read at the 4th grade level. We've heard it all for decades. So now, for the first time in like 60 years, black men finally have the mic, and it's not okay. That seems like a real big hypocritical situation for me. And I'm sitting here trying to figure out why is it okay for black women to talk down on black men all the time, but when we speak up about something that's a minor issue like attitude problems or a little overweight, now all of a sudden all hell breaks loose.
It's not unacceptable, brother. It's not unacceptable. I agree with you.
I will say this, because this was my point I made earlier in my previous slide, where when I was going over the interview that Fox News did, I understood the issues that the black woman had raised as far as like, look, you can go abroad if you want, but why do you have to, in the process, be disparaging to black women? So I understand that.
That lady got 2 sons out of wedlock with no husband in sight.
No, let me finish. So like, and I broke it down in my other live. That whole thing to me is just a total fiasco, and it's just all cap. But really, I was like, if we're concerned now about trying to keep the black business out of the mainstream and we want to kind of stay on code or whatever, then we would have been doing that for black men the last couple of decades. And I think that's the issue, because it's like, you know, where are we when you have black women calling for the abortion of all black male babies, and we have black women saying y'all can't even die right. We have these people that are clearly violent, and they're not being canceled. Here's the thing about it. Black women are great. They are fantastic at cancel culture. But this misandry stuff can go around and there's no cancellation. So it's like, I understand as a black woman, you're concerned of just like, why are we hearing all these negative things? I don't like it. That's why I talk about this different stuff. But also, I feel like there needs to be the same concern when it's black men, or else it's going to fall on deaf ears. And I think that's what's happening. You've had a lot of men who are just like, y'all been talking about us so bad, not just like talking about our looks. You're talking violent rhetoric. You're talking abortion. You're talking genocide, and nobody bats an eye. And then now we're going and we're exploring our options. We as leftover men, because you said that they're leftover men. You're calling us leftover men. We're going abroad now, and then now you're shaming us. So it's like that's why I can understand the frustration, but I'm like, we have to be balanced and we have to be honest with this. And I think unless we're willing to do that, especially as women, and make sure that men are being disrespected in the way that we want to be respected, then I think it's going to continue. Personally,
I hear you. I think that one of the people said,
what she was talking about.
One of the people said that sometimes an OG moves in silence. And I think that may be the case that needs to happen, moving in silence.
Well,
older men have been doing this for a long time, and that's when I try to talk to those younger men about how to move around and not, get in trouble. That would be my concern. My actual concern is them actually losing their life. But this is kind of a wake up call for them. But there was something that it sounds as if what you're doing is you're conflating sex tourism with this whole passport bro, concept. The two are actually different, and I don't expect women to make this separation, but men actually do. Sex tourism is exactly what it is: sex tourism. The guys who are going for sex tourism aren't talking about trying to find wives and none of that other stuff. And if they do that, we don't control that anyway. and it's none of our business as long as they don't, break any laws and they don't leave a bunch of kids all over the place. And so far, there's not any indications that that's really happening. So the passport bros are two different things. And the other thing, and the other thing too is that this is kind of what I'm seeing. There's legitimate constructive criticism that's coming out against both black women and black men. Men seem to do okay with constructive criticism. Women, sit here and listen to it and they call it bashing. That's not what bashing is. Bashing is me insulting you for no reason other than just to hurt your feelings and to harm you or to just be emotionally and verbally abusive. That serves no purpose other than I get something out of it. All right. And it hurts you in the process. But if you're literally, criticizing negative behavior, toxic behavior, something that's not constructive, that's not helping the community, it's not helping women, it's not helping men, we have to actually be able to speak about that. And it can't be called bashing. That's the one thing that I see women conflate. The two are actually separate. And I don't think, and it seems that women can't separate the two, but men do a lot better job of actually being able to understand what constructive criticism is and what somebody is.
Right,
I went on Austen. Let me say this. I went on Austen Holleman.
No.
I went on Austen Holleman's channel and I talked to the brother. He had a panel full of dudes from the Passport Bros thing, right? I was on him about why they're not going to Africa more, meeting black women and stuff. The brother's a good brother. He was very receptive, didn't get combative, didn't get defensive. Now, I want to see this girl go to Cynthia G's channel and try to tell her maybe she shouldn't call for the abortion of black men. I bet you she'll get cussed out. Them girls they'll turn on you like a pack of wild dogs. So what it is you got women telling people, oh, you need to stop talking about a bunch of women who are so out of control that they literally will cannibalize on another woman if she dares to tell them to do something that's best for them. It's like a artificial intelligence that has become self-aware and is now out of control. You keep trying to tell people to back up off them, but you can't even control them. So they're just a bunch of rogue radicals who will do and say anything to justify the nasty behavior they have. So I think the women should talk to the women, the men should talk to the men. We've talked to Passport Bros. We've talked to Romy Peso. These are good brothers. They don't mean no harm on nobody. You saw the boy when how scared he got when the girl was like, yo, he went and apologized. He did everything he was supposed to do and asked to do. Now show me Cynthia G issuing an apology. You'll never see it. And you guys are not going to move us off our square. You women are degenerate and the Passport Bros have class. You guys are classless. They have class. And until you can get a hold of them, then you are not qualified to tell nobody to do anything.
Hey, can I add something real quick into this whole conversation since I kind of been sitting back?
That's fine.
Okay, so good evening, everybody. I'm 31 years old. I'm in a situation where I make a pretty significant amount of money. I've traveled to several different countries, and my perspective on things is this: 17% of Black Americans travel internationally, period. Out of all of the Black people in America, 17% travel internationally. So that in and of itself shows you that's a very small percentage of people that travel globally that are Black. So I don't know the woman's name who was speaking about her having property in the Dominican Republic, but for you to sit there and say those disparaging words about the Black men that are going to these other countries, I think it's kind of very subjective, simply because you don't know all of these people who are traveling to these places. Some people go for sex tourism. Some people go for several other things. I just came back from Thailand about 2 weeks ago, and I went there and I bought gold. I actually bought gold bullion from there. So when it comes down to it, you don't know what the next person is traveling for and what reason they're going to these places for. When it comes down to it, I think ultimately, if a person has enough money and enough wherewithal to be able to put the money together to buy a passport, to plan a trip, to go to these places and to travel around the world, that's something that should be revered. And so there really aren't a lot of us that do it. And when it comes down to it, I say ultimately to each his or her own. If you are a person that has the leverage to be in a position, date whatever group of people you want to date, do you. Because ultimately we all came into this world by ourselves. We want to leave the same way. When we have to see the face of whoever you believe is God, you have to do that individually. No one is going to be standing next to you. So even with the brother that's speaking about Africa, I don't see nothing wrong with people traveling to Africa. But you have a lot of black people that may not even want to date women that are in Africa. They may want to date women in Brazil and Colombia, etc. So I say get in where you fit in, but just make sure that you do what's going to be best for you. As long as you're not hurting someone else, do what you got to do.
I just wanted to respond simply by just saying this. A lot of the same guys, the passport bros that you say are all somewhat, terrible men, and the traveling guys are all black men. We have watched No Scrubs, we've watched Bills, we've watched Oprah, and now here we are with the black community, or should I say black women, about to make Tyler Perry a billionaire. Now, Tyler Perry movies are getting flown all around the world, and they're showing this. Are those movies showing black men in a proper light? They are not. But there's no backlash about this soon-to-be billionaire. But a couple of guys on the internet talking about black women and their experiences, we got to shut that down. But we're going to glorify a man that wears a dress for a living? Look, you got to miss me with that, Miss Lady. I'm sorry. I'm not even trying to be mean to you. I'm just saying, you're over here worried about a couple of dudes on the side of the internet when one of the maybe the biggest film director in Black America wears a dress, walks around talking in a woman's voice, and makes movies basically disparaging black men for not being strong enough. And he's getting rich for it. And to come on this side
you're going to
internet,
have to take that up with the Jewish community, sir. Take that up with the Jewish community.
Hey, look, the Jewish community wouldn't be making any money if black women weren't going to go watch the movies. But they're going to watch them. Right? Am I right or wrong?
You got to take that up with the Jewish community.
Are black women going to
let's
see the movies?
Let's stay on topic here, people.
My point is, if we're going to get on some guys on one side of the internet, come on. You're going to have to regulate behavior on both sides. So if guys and people are getting rich off of disparaging the name of black men, go after them. There's big channels out there, plenty of them.
So
get on their panels. Call them. Yeah.
I just want to jump in real quick. Hey, ChezCharde. What's up? It's Marty on the panel. Let's have a Marty moment for a second. Now, I'm not going to regale the woman, May, with my adventures, my accomplishments. I'm just keep it focused. And I'll say, like, just to hit one thing, like Austen wasn't appointed the leader of anything. We didn't have like a backdoor meeting, Illuminati style, and lifted him above and said, you are the one. No, the way it works is YouTube has algorithm and they show your material to a bunch of people, and he just happened to ride the wave. So he doesn't speak for guys who own passports no more than Cardi B speaks for you when she goes to see the President Biden. I'm sure you guys remember that. So by which I'm saying is this: what I say to women and men, the cream always rises to the top. Because I don't want to make this a you versus me, He-Man versus Skeletor, Decepticons versus Autobots. We're not doing that tonight. The best rises to the top. And on each side, I say, okay, black women, I hear your concerns. I think about it at night sometimes. So this is what I say. Date out. And I don't mean interracial even. We don't even have to go there. There's African men. There's Caribbean men. But here's the thing. Let's just say, because I like to agree more than I like to disagree. So when women tell me black men don't lead, black men aren't tall enough, black men aren't cute enough, you're scoundrels, you know what I do? You're right. So that would mean I agree on everything you said. So when I say to women, I say, well, why isn't no other men come into your community, overstep their own women and their communities and their countries, fly in to date and marry you? Ooh, now we have a problem, because now we have a situation that we can't argue because I just agreed with you. Let's just say all the black men ain't worth nothing. That would mean other men should be coming in, scooping you up, because if you're strong and independent, and if these things count for relationships, that means the Arab man, the Puerto Rican, the Dominican man, the Haitian man, would value these things and say, oh, I've got gold. When you find $100 bill on the ground, even if you have to dust it off, it's still worth $100, right? So if nobody's dusting off that $100 bill, could be it's not worth as much as you think. Now, if we're going to address the men, The same thing applies because I'm not versus. Dusty dudes will be left in the dust. And it is your fault if you don't rise to the occasion. If you don't put in the work to become the man that you should be to obtain the type of woman that you want, that's your fault. So this is not a woman versus man thing. I just tell people the facts and lay it at their feet where it lays. So when the women say, you black men are this, you're bashing me, I agree. Yes, stop bashing those women. They'll be married before you know it. And if they're not married, that's their fault. Same thing with the men. All these women are overweight. I can't get a good. Okay. Well, how much do you make? Are you clean? Are you in the gym? Are you doing what you have to do to get to the next level? If not, sucks for you too. And I think if we had this attitude where it's like, look, man, date out. And I don't mean interracial. I'm not talking about white. Let me say it again. If you are really that good and you are in demand, okay, say the black men in America don't work for you, the black women don't work for you. That means if you go somewhere else, it should work, right? That means there's a dysfunction with us getting together. And I'm not here to argue why. I don't care what led you down this path. I don't care why you're fat. I don't care why you're not, well, the women will say emotionally intelligent as far as the male. I don't deal with excuses. I deal with results. You know, because a lot of people, they say, I've been engaged 10 times. And you know what I say? I say, it don't matter if you went to the finals. Did you get the Super Bowl ring? Huh?
Bam, bam.
You see what I'm saying? Do
Bam.
you follow me? So this is why I deal with a lot of women, because I do a lot of film, photography, and music. So I'm very accomplished. I know how this goes. So I know how to speak the speak, walk the walk, and talk the talk.
I appreciate the Marty moment. I want to say that I appreciate it.
But like I said, I'm not here to go against you and bash you. I speak to both sides, and I get heat on both sides. Guys that know me, some people hate me, men and women, because I make everybody go to that next level. But what I don't do, I don't give anybody room for excuses, male or female. If you have a problem and you are really the shit, you should be able to go somewhere else and get the results. And if you're not getting it here, go somewhere else. This whole thing where we have to fight each other, because here's the thing. Men travel, women travel, but people don't realize women have more passports and travel more than men.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, they do. This is a fact. We know this. And women have an infrastructure for sex tourism. It's called hedonism. It's called the boat rides. I know these things because I've been to some of them. I see I'm the guy in the corner with the camera.
Right.
You see
right.
what I'm
saying? I've seen it too. I've seen it.
It's not about who's doing what. It's not about how you say, it's about who's listening. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm saying to everybody, I don't get into the war of the worlds and grandstanding. I'm about results. And if I can show guys, hey, if you do this domestically or internationally, I can get you these results. Follow what I'm showing you. Same thing for the females. If the female tells me I'm in shape, I've got a great attitude, I can cook in the kitchen, and these men aren't doing it for me, then cool. Go where you are celebrated. Ain't nobody gonna be hating you over here. You know, but what you can't do, as I'm gonna hit both sides real quick. As a female, you can't be overweight, you can't have kids, you can't have a bad attitude, you can't not know how to cook, spin the block and say, I demand this, this, and this. And then when you don't get the results, now it's society's fault. Same thing with the guys. You can't say, oh, the white man's be holding me down. The Jews buy all the property. I can't get ahead because of XYZ. No, there's things you can do to get ahead. And if you don't make it happen by a certain age, because there's a time limit on men to become successful too. We hit the wall at a certain time. It's later in life, but the results are way more devastating than women because we don't have the fail-safe. So if you don't hit your stride by a certain age as a man, you're in trouble and there's nobody to save you. I make that very clear. So all I'm saying is, look, there's problems on both sides. I'll do a Trump. They're both good people on both sides. You know what I'm saying? So I'll do that. You know what I'm saying? So listen, if you doing the work, you will have what you deserve. And it's just that simple.
Right.